So, good morning, students. I'm your suffixer. Today we'll be discussing on a new topic, capacitance. Okay, capacitors and capacitance. मजा आएगा आप ध्यान का साथ. Okay, बिल्कुल बैठ जाओ. Completed electric charges, electric field force, right? Then you have completed your electric potential. Okay, Gaussian surfaces, Gauss's theorem, all these things you have completed. Clear? And you have done also the behavior of a conductor. Okay, when we give charge to the conductor. First of all, let us discuss something about capacitor. Okay, so first question arises: what is a capacitor? What is a capacitor? So telling to the point, capacitor is basically a device which is designed to store electrical potential energy. We know that we need to store energy in different situations. Okay, for example, we have got a spring. When we work on the spring to elongate it, we know that in the spring a potential energy. When you lift a body to a height h, in this body also a potential energy will get stored. If I use a bow and an arrow, if I use a bow and if I pull the, similarly, if I use a bow and I pull the string of the bow, we understand some deformations will take place in the bow. Okay, we are working against the elastic forces of the bow. So as a result, in the bow also potential energy will get stored. So there are, in different situations, there are different devices. In different situations, there are different devices or different systems in which we can store energy. Similarly, coming to the topic of electrodynamics, here also we want to store energy. And to store energy, this particular device is constructed, which we call it as what? Capacitor. Okay. So in general, in very simple words, capacitor is a device in which we can store energy in the form of electric. Now, how a capacitor looks like, okay, and how a capacitor is constructed. Basically, capacitor is nothing but it's a combination of two conductors. Two conductors are placed close to each other. Two conductors are placed close to each other. For example, this is one conductor and this is the other conductor. They are placed close to each other. But here you remember one point: they should not have any physical contact. That means the space in between will have to be vacuum, or it should be filled with a dielectric medium, means an insulating medium. Okay, one of these two conductors will be called as plates. Whether they looks like plate or not, but they will be called as plates. One conductor will be given a positive charge plus Q, and the other will be given a negative charge minus Q. This is we call it as a capacitor. This is how it looks like. For example, we have different examples of capacitors. For example, if we use two metal plates parallel to each other, then one is given plus Q, the other is given minus Q. Then this will be called as parallel plate capacitor. Okay. Similarly, if we use two concentric metal spheres or two spherical, metallic surfaces, one is having radius A, the other is having radius B. These are two concentric, okay, conducting spherical surfaces. Okay, this will be called as spherical capacitor. Similarly, you can use two cylindrical surfaces. Similarly, you can use two cylindrical conductors. Okay. This will be called as cylindrical capacitor. This is called spherical capacitor. Okay, good. So these are different types of capacitors. This is spherical capacitor, that is cylindrical capacitor, and that is parallel plate capacitor. Okay, now here let me tell you another important point. Why we need two conductors, okay, to make a capacitor? A conductor can be charged many ways. Like a conductors can be charged by the process of conduction, or it can be charged by the process of induction. But remember one point, a conductor cannot be charged by the process of rubbing, friction, cannot be charged by the process of friction, right? So a conductor can be charged by the process of conduction or induction. So how much amount of charge this conductor can hold will depend on what? So let us see. Let us take the example of a spherical conductor. These things we have already done. Yeah, let us consider a spherical conductor having radius r. Okay, to this particular conductor, let me give a charge q. Then how much will be the potential of this conductor? On the surface, the potential will become kq by r. We can write it as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. Okay, so this particular part is basically to this sphere. Let me give a charge q, then potential on the sphere will become how much? kq by r. If you see carefully, this two part is constant. So what we have seen, V directly proportional to q. For a spherical conductor, V directly proportional to q. Or I can say, if potential is more, then we can give more charge on the conductor, and if potential is less, we can give lesser amount of charge on the conductor. So how much charge this particular conductor can hold depends on the potential. Okay, so though I have considered a spherical conductor, but this particular relation is going to hold good for any type of conductors of any shape and size. So here we have learned one point, that the potential is directly proportional to charge. That means if I have two conductors, okay, if I have two conductors and the maximum potential of this conductor is V1 and the maximum the potential of this conductor is V2, here I am giving a charge Q1 and here I am giving a charge Q2, that we understand that conductor having greater potential will able to hold greater amount of charge. Okay, I hope that is clear. We have seen potential is directly proportional to Q. That means a particular conductor, having greater potential can hold greater amount of charge. Okay, so this particular situations will hold good for any isolated conductor of any shape and size, right? So here we have seen one thing, that charge, we understand charge is directly proportional to the potential of the conductor, charge that we can, okay, so from here we have seen the charge that we can put on a conductor is directly proportional to its potential. So when you make it equal, Q is equal to a constant of proportionality comes, this is C is the constant of proportionality, and this constant of proportionality is called capacitance. Okay, so this capacitance is basically, it is a ratio of Q by V. Okay, so basically what this capacitance refers to, so capacitance is more, if capacitance is more, then at a given voltage the more charge the particular conductor will able to hold on it. Okay, then like this, Q by V. So therefore its unit will become, this is coulomb and this is volt. So this is coulomb by volt, which we call it as farad. It's a very big unit. So basically the practical units of capacitance, microfarad is used, or picofarad is used, or at times nanofarad is also used, 10 to the power minus 6, 10 to the power minus 12, 10 to the power minus 9. Okay, these are basically units we will see for capacitance. So what we have seen here, so what do we understand by capacitance now? Now what do you understand by capacitance? So by capacitance we understand it is the property which will show its ability to hold charge. So capacitance is the property which shows its ability to store electric potential energy or to store electric charge. More is the capacitance, the conductor will be able to store or hold more amount of charges. If V is equal to 1, then C is equal to Q. That is, capacitance is equal to the amount of charge required to raise the potential of the conductor by unity. So capacitance is equal to the amount of charge needed. Capacitance is equal to the amount of charge needed to raise the potential of the conductor by unity. Okay, this is also another definition of capacitance. Now capacitance depends on what? Okay, C we have written as Q by V. Does C depends on Q or it depends on V? Think. Which one? Acha, let me tell you, not waste your time. C neither depends on Q, neither depends on V. You have learned in class 10 also, Ohm's law. Resistance, potential difference by current. Now you know resistance depends on what? Potential difference or current? What do you say? What? Or potential? Resistance neither depends on potential difference, neither on current. Resistance depends on three things. Number one, nature of the material. The conductor is made of what? This is copper, aluminum, silver, iron. What is this? Okay, so resistance depends on the nature of the material, number one. Number two, it depends on the temperature. You vary the temperature of the material, the resistance of the material will change. Number three, it depends on its dimensions, cross-sectional area and length. Okay, so resistance is basically written as R is equal to resistivity rho L by A. More is the length, more is the resistance. More is the cross-sectional area, lesser will be the resistance. Okay, and more is the resistivity, more will be the. So it doesn't depend on V, neither depends on I. Similarly, capacitance is Q by V. C neither depends on Q, neither depends on V. It depends on, C depends on the shape, the size of the conductors. Shape means whether it is parallel plate or it is spherical or cylindrical. It depends on the size, means the area of the plates, separation between the plates, size, and geometrical placing of the conductors, and the medium between the two plates, what mediums you are placing, it depends on that. So it depends on shape of the conductors, the size, the geometrical placing, and medium in between. These are the factors on which the capacitance of the capacitor will depend.